According to Stats South Africa, unemployment rate for the quarterly labour force survey for the first quarter of 2024, youth unemployment rate for ages between 15 to 24 years is at 59.7% and 45.5% for ages 15 and 34 years. Also, the figures indicate that education plays a crucial role in equipping young people with the skills and competencies necessary to succeed in the workforce. However, only 9.8% of the employed youth were graduates. But to find out how companies are playing their part in curbing unemployment and creating opportunities for young people, we are joined in studio by Ashanti Mbanga, Project Manager at Energy Efficiency Portfolio as a South African National Energy Development Institute, and Thapelo Nthite, a co-founder and CEO of Botlhale AI. So nice to have both of you. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure. So, I mean, let's just get your ideas on many things. I mean, Ashanti, we're looking at the unemployment rate, and we're talking 45.5% unemployment among young individuals. I'm just reading it, 15 to 34 years. I mean, how important or significant is it for corporates to get involved in this and to give the youth an opportunity to get experience and to try and help curb this unemployment rate?
Absolutely. It is a staggering figure, Leanne. And corporate South Africa is crucial because they are the bridge between having educated youth and skilled labor, which is very crucial for the future that we are looking to get into, particularly within the energy sector that I represent. SANEDI is an entity that is tailored in its mandate to tackle the triple challenges of the economy, which are unemployment, and here we're talking about this in the case of youth, but also poverty and inequality. As an organization, we're quite intentional about ensuring that we get as much of a youth component into the organization. Currently, 53% of the company is young people between the ages of 18 and 35, and 62% women. So we're really trying to resolve the issues of inclusivity and inequality through gender mainstreaming as an organization. But in the broader South African economy, it's so important that corporates like SANEDI have internship programs and learnership programs that are going to bridge that gap between having students that come out of school, whether you've had formal education or a matric, perhaps you left school in grade 10 and you're looking for technical, hands-on working opportunities. There are programs within the company that create that. Yeah. So an example is EXCO market developments, and just going to one of the comments that was shared around how youth should really start looking at how they can empower themselves through entrepreneurial opportunities. When you look at EXCO market development, these are energy service companies. As an entity, we run a program where we develop skills and ensure that we are developing opportunities for small, medium enterprises to play in the sector. Yeah. We're in an energy crisis. We're also looking at jobs of the future because we're in an energy transition, all this is implemented by government and private sector alike. It requires skills. Yeah. So people are talking about how we're going to lose jobs, but nobody's talking about the jobs that will be created with the generation of new energy as well as the maintenance thereof.
And that's what's so exciting about the industry that you're in. And I'll quiz you a little bit more about that, because that is the one sector where change is inevitable, and it's happening right in front of our eyes, and the world over is looking at that. Yes. But now we talk about entrepreneurial skills, and you are the epitome of this, because you started your company. I think it was you and some mates at university. Is that correct? And you built up this company. Now I want to hear a little bit more about it. What exactly you do as Botlhale AI? Tell me what you do, and then how it started and how hard or difficult it was for you to get this going.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. So what we do at Botlhale AI is we help businesses and organizations to engage with their customers in languages their customers understand and trust. So we use AI to enable this. So we do this in African languages. So we've actually recently just gone live with DSTV. So DSTV customers on WhatsApp can interact with DSTV in African languages, in isiZulu, Sesotho, Afrikaans, that's what we do at Botlhale. And how it started was basically through a simple interaction with my grandmother, who speaks Setswana, like me, ke Motswana. And she's asking me to load prepaid airtime for her on her phone, but she's saying this in Setswana. The voucher's in English, her phone is in English, but she can't do it. So during that interaction, that's when I realized, there's a lot of people who struggle to use digital services or properly participate in the formal digital economy because of language barriers. And fortunately for us, we were studying in the electrical engineering department at the University of Cape Town, doing research into the space. So we knew that there were technologies and systems that existed that solved this very problem.
That's amazing. And so you decided to create this idea, but I mean, it can't be easy, because one of the comments that I saw coming in from the viewer was that we need to support entrepreneurs more, particularly with funding and giving them an opportunity. So I want to hear just a little bit about the journey. So you've got this brilliant idea, but how do you get it off the ground? How do you find investors? I mean, now you're employing 20 people, which is just incredible. But talk to us about that. How hard was that for you?
Yeah, honestly, it was very challenging. I mean, the journey still is quite challenging.
Yeah.
But we have received quite a bit of support from corporates in South Africa, and that's made it like a really huge difference for us. So I think upskilling and empowering and knowledge sharing is one thing, but really giving opportunities, creating opportunities, having funding opportunities so that we can actually develop the solution, the technology, and to deploy it. But even after that, right, the next important step is to actually get these corporates to buy the solution and implement the solution. And I think for a lot of small businesses, they'll go through some initiatives and programs, upskilling them, telling them what it takes to start a business. But when the very same small businesses come back to pitch the solution that the corporate trained them with, they don't want to buy it.
They're not willing to invest their money in it and say, okay, we'll use you in our company.
Exactly.
And there's where the big problem comes in. And I do think that's a gap that we need to try and close and give much more opportunities to upcoming youth, young, brilliant ideas that work and they're successful. I mean, Ashanti, you spoke about something that I think is the greatest concern at the moment, and that's the skills deficit.
Yes.
And the fact that we are moving in a very fast technological age. That's what the world we live in.
Absolutely.
So when we look at the education system as it sits currently, are we bringing up kids that are going to fit into this new world? Because I'm afraid we're not. When you get out of your areas of private wealthy schools of people that can afford to get computers and AI and all of these kind of things, and then you move out into more rural and undeveloped areas, underdeveloped, they don't even have books at some points. This is what I am concerned about. Do you see this happening?
Yes. One of the things that I specifically remember about finishing my formal education and getting into the workplace is how different the textbook knowledge was from real life experience.
Yeah, very much so.
And now I'm in a sector where we have to apply our minds to actually create solutions for real life problems. And there's that opportunity of a bridge to gap for sure. But when you speak about people who aren't exposed to the opportunities that some might have, there's also an opportunity of leapfrogging through technology. And we've seen that happen in spaces where people who are in marginalized communities are having opportunities that are not following the traditional methods of education, because we need to leapfrog. And that's what technology and AI can do. Yeah. And again, it's about bringing access to people in terms of information and data so that they are empowered to be able to make something or create something for themselves. I fully agree that gone are the days where we need to depend on someone else, to put food on the table or to give us an opportunity. I think the youth are in an interesting position because we're agile, we're innovative, we're creative. But there is something about our system that sorts of shapes people to believe that you have to go through formal education, you have to go through an internship, and after your internship you have to get into a formal job and then climb the corporate ladder. And I think those days are long gone. My own career journey is one that is quite unconventional. So I say that from experience. And so the really challenging thing to do is to task.
Okay. Give people an idea of how unconventional it was. And
yes.
How, I mean, they look at you and they think, wow, no, she must be like a doctor of...
And not at all.
Like electricity or something.
Yes.
I mean, I'm joking,
yes.
but you know, people don't realize that there are opportunities. Help me understand what you've...
I'm happy to. So naturally, I'm a late peaker. And that's something a lot of South Africans experience, where your opportunities sort of come a bit later in life. I had an opportunity to finish school, and there was no money at home for me to go to university immediately. So I took an au-pairing job for a year, and I was in the Netherlands, and there I experienced the transport system. And so I came back to South Africa and then started thinking, oh, wow. And I was a captive user of public transport when I came back from that year. And then I thought to myself, how do I get into the transport sector to try and, you know, lend solutions? And I was able to get a hold of a bursary through applications. So I did take the initiative to apply and knock on some doors. Eventually, I landed a bursary with the Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport, and I had my internship there. I did go through university to study. Again, no money, so the bursary is what helped me. And then I did an internship. There afterwards, I started networking. And I don't think people realize the power of networking. And through the networking, I got into a program called the Miss Earth South Africa. It's a leadership program. And yes, I was Miss Earth South Africa 2013.
Well done.
And thank you. Through that experience, I was able to do a lot of community work in marginalized areas, but creating and learning, creating awareness and really learning about sustainability and how that was going to be key in every sector. It's the golden thread of everything we do.
So look at you,
and
from
then,
being a beauty princess,
exactly,
from an au pair to studying, to going into a pageant, to then now moving into an energy sector.
An energy sector, because one of the judges for a pitch I did happened to be in an energy company working on a clean mobility project that was focused on electric vehicles. And then I worked on that project, and from there I was exposed to energy efficiency, and I now find myself in the energy efficiency sector, focused on reducing energy efficiency within the residential sector.
Next step, you're going to take over the world.
So it really does need some intentionality to seek opportunities, and that's what I really want to encourage young people to do.
I love the lesson in that. I do love the lesson in that. Thapelo, perhaps maybe your journey was a little bit more straightforward, but still it's difficult, and you're working in this, you're employing people, you're growing, and you're in an industry that people are very scared of. But I don't know if the youth are scared of it. Is it because this is what you know, this is what you've grown up with, technology, AI, the world is changing, and you know this. Perhaps it is the older generation that's a little bit scared that, you know, it's going to take our jobs away and it's going to not enable us to do more. But for the youth, how do you all feel about this technology and how it's moving and how fast it's going?
Yeah, I think it's very exciting, but also scary at the same time. I think that is quite fair, because if you look at the rate of development just over the last 24 months, there's so many tools and solutions out there that have made things significantly more efficient. But I think what's important is, instead of like just shying away from the entire conversation, is to intentionally tackle certain topics or issues that arise from this, right? So we can't just say, you know, we're going to push the employment conversation to the side and embrace the technology. We have to actively participate in having proper dialogues about these issues. So that's the one side. I think the other side is for us as South Africans and people on the continent, in fact, to properly participate in developing these solutions, right? Ensuring that these solutions are developed with Africa's context in mind, so that when we deploy these solutions, they work for us. Maybe there's a way in which we can make these, allow these solutions to create more jobs instead of reducing jobs. I mean, at Botlhale, we collect our data using a network of youth around the country. And we've reached over 1,000 youth in South Africa through microjobs. And those very same people are using the technology now. So it's like we've integrated the youth into the development of the solution that they will eventually end up using.
Fantastic. Well, I think it's a brilliant idea, and to use the continent we live on, that's what's also key. We need to be able to do business much easier on the continent. Stop worrying about everything else and work on this continent, because the opportunities are there and the age is young on this continent. Guys, we're so proud of you. Thank you for sharing your journeys, and we can't wait to watch with much interest to see where this takes you all. Our two guests in studio, Ashanti Mbanga, Project Manager, Energy Efficiency Portfolio at South African National Energy Development Institute, and Thapelo Nthite, Co-founder and CEO of Botlhale AI, talking to us about the role that companies can play and the journeys that as a young person you can take to enhance your skills and create employment. Well done. Well done to both of you. All right, that leads us up to 8 o'clock on this Wednesday morning. Sakina's got our news bulletin.